Shellfish Aren't Fish by Alan Fowler. Shellfish aren't fish. When is a fish not a fish? When it's a shellfish. We use the word shellfish to describe sea animals that have three things in common. First, they have a shell. Second, they're good to eat. And third, they aren't really fish. There are many different types of shellfish. Lobsters and shrimp, crayfish and crabs are all shellfish. They belong to a group of animals called crustaceans. Can you say that? Crustaceans. And that includes lobsters and shrimp and crabs. Crustaceans are like insects because their bodies are covered by a hard substance instead of skin. This book is about shellfish that belong to a group of animals called mollusks. A mollusk lives inside a hard shell, but its body is soft. Remember when we were talking about this kind of shell on clams and oysters? That's this kind, mollusks. Every mollusk makes its own shell, so in a way, a mollusk's home, its shell, is a part of the animal. Clams, mussels, oysters, and scallops are all mollusks. They're called bivalves, which means that their shells have two halves. This half and this half hinge together. The shell of a bivalve has a hinge, just like the hinge on a door. The shell of a bivalve is usually open. When the animal senses danger, it uses the hinge to snap its shell shut. Bivalves have something else in common. Each one has a strong foot. A foot? A bivalve can use its foot to move from place to place. The animal wedges its foot between two rocks, then drags its body shell along the sea floor. A bivalve can also use its foot to burrow in the mud or sand. Which part do you think is the foot? This part? This part? Maybe it's underneath. A scallop has a shell shaped like a fan. It's the only bivalve that can jump by spouting water out of its shell. Even though bivalves bury themselves, people often dig them up for food. Mussels and oysters often live in large clumps called beds. Can't really see, but that's all mussels stuck together on the rocks. Oysters are usually eaten raw. Clams can be eaten raw or steamed. Mussels and scallops can be cooked many different ways. Most bivalves are small enough to hold in your hand. He's holding a bunch. But some weigh as much as 500 pounds. These giant clams live along coral reefs in the Pacific Ocean. Sometimes a grain of sand gets inside a bivalve's shell. When it rubs against the animal's soft body, the bivalve coats it with a smooth material called mother of pearl. Have you ever seen someone wearing a pearl necklace? Like that one? There's a tiny grain of sand inside each white bead. The pearls used in jewelry come from oysters. Not all mollusks have hinge shells. Conchs live inside one-piece shells. They're kind of twisty. The shell of this sea snail has a graceful spiral shape. Look how pretty that is. Mother of pearl isn't just found in pearls created by bivalves. If you look closely at the inside of many shells, you'll see that they're lined with mother of pearl. Mother of pearl sparkles with pretty colors like those you see on a soap bubble. Some people like shells so much that they collect them. Have you ever brought a shell home from the beach? The next time you visit the seashore, why not see how many different kinds of shells you can find? Then go to the library and get a book that tells you what kind of shellfish made its home in each type of shell. But don't look under fish because shellfish aren't fish. The end.